100% the way to create urgency and a little leverage, because you don't have, in a weird way, he doesn't have that much, is to not show up. They're breaking in a brand new quarterback. I mean, he's basically equivalent of a rookie, right? And did you see the picture? Did Trey post it? Did Ayuk post it? Like those two together?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ayuk, like, he ain't getting paid anytime soon. So it's like, he might as well just be all in with his new quarterback. But Deebo not being there, and you see Kittle posted the other day, like him FaceTiming Trey Lance. Like
Deebo.
They're all kind of transitioning.
Yep.
Deebo's point of difference is going to be, and we've said this over and over, he's only doing the Niners a favor if he shows up without a contract to start working with Trey Lance. Like, in this notion that, what about the reps he missed? Why does Deebo give a shit? Deebo knows this. The moment he's ready, those reps immediately go to 19. Hey, whatever other number is repping in there beside Ayuk, get the fuck out. This is the big leagues. This ain't JV football. So, to me, the recommendation is no hold in, no participation. If I'm on Deebo's camp, we are not showing up. Now, part of this is also going to be like, are we prepared? Like, is it just as simple as, can they give you 3 years, $75 million to get you 25 a year, but guarantee 40 of it? Like, would that make you feel whole? Or are we holding out for these numbers that the other guys got? Because if you are, we're not going to see you for a long time.
Well, 3 for 75 isn't getting signed on April 20th. I'll tell you that.
I think it would if they guaranteed every penny.
Oh, 3 for 75 with $40 million guaranteed is not getting signed on April 20th. Agree?
So basically a 3-year extension for $75 million. So the equivalent of like a 4-year, $80 million deal, but they guaranteed every penny, something like, which I think if you were the Niners, you would want to do something short-term.
Yes, you would.
There's no way in God's green earth.
This is not the way guys, I don't blame guys for this because the sport is violent. But if you're Deebo, you go, I want more than that because there's no guarantee in 4 years I'm extremely healthy. So, and
just make it 2.
Or the other thing is you feel like somebody will pay you that. But there is a sense when you show up and hold in that you're a good guy, that you're a team leader. We just did a video on Sunday about Deebo has done a lot of the things the right way for the 49ers, but does him not showing up change any of that? I don't think so. But I think to your point, it does create just a little bit of if you're there is a feeling that like, we'll get this worked out and we will find a way to reach a compromise. If you're not there, what you're saying is no compromises. I need to get paid. And I don't have a problem with it. Now, I do think
that's gone out the window a little bit, like bad guy. Like, to me, that was like a 90s, maybe 10 years ago thing. I think it's less and less.
Maybe.
Given the amount of money that's on the line.
He does have $50,000 workout bonus that he doesn't get if he skips these workouts.
But isn't money all relative? I mean, ultimately, he's going for 50, 60 guaranteed $1 million. What the fuck's $50,000?
Yeah.
To me, that's nothing when you think in the big picture. Right, you always take a short-term gain short-term loss for a big-term gain.
Yeah,
but ultimately, that money means nothing to me if our goal is to get the big money, and big money may end up being $45 million guaranteed, but $45 million guaranteed is well worth holding out if the offer right now is 38, or whatever. Because again, I think it's really low. I think he's very offended because I think the number is very low, and based on his career, the number should be low. The only reason it's higher is because the market changed, but he doesn't have as much in common with the market as I think he thinks. If I'm the Niners, like, you just don't. Like, what do you have in common with Tyreek Hill? Tyreek Hill is 5 years straight of dominating.
Yeah, I mean, I think his argument, and this is an argument that doesn't really win, is you're paying me for what I'm about to do, not what my resume says I did, right? And that's just not how most pro contracts happen. It's how rookie contracts happen. But outside of rookie contracts, it's not really how anyone gets paid. I'd say the only other group of people that get paid, if you can think of somebody else, the only other group of people that get paid like that for what they're about to do are guys that make the big leagues at a really young age, and teams give them like these proactive contracts that actually aren't that big in the grand scheme of things. But this guy's about to be under team control for the next 5 years. So he signs a 7-year, $80 million contract, right? Those are the only two groups I feel like they get paid really on what they're about to do.
Because Bryce Harper and Garrett Cole got paid on what they did, right?
Yeah.
And ideally just maintaining that.
Right. Which Bryce at last check is not doing.
Bryce Harper?
Bryce not having a great year, is he?
I mean, they've played 1 week.
Oh, okay. Well, slow start.
I thought Garrett Cole sucks now that he doesn't have
Garrett Cole Garrett Cole also not doing great. Bryce is
well, maybe the home runs
here.
were all in spring training.
Bryce hitting 216 at the moment. 333 on base though. So paying Bryce to walk. I think not.
We got time to go.
This isn't Deebo versus the Niners. It's Deebo versus Parag. Until Kyle is like, I need him here. Which is what Deebo, right? That's kind of what you hope. This is where holdouts are not created equal, all the same places. Like organizations where the head coach is the offensive play caller and in charge of everything. Maybe a holdout for an offensive player can have a bigger impact for a coach than when the GM is in charge of everything, right? And the GM decides who gets paid and who doesn't. Maybe that'd be part of my argument to Deebo too. Stay home. Maybe Kyle gets kind of antsy.
This is Kyle's ultimately signing off on the number they give him, and it's overall impact on the salary cap.
But you said it on the podcast Sunday, like Kyle, historically, the Shanahan family business is interchangeable widgets.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say that Deebo jumped the shark out of the widgets. Like he's no longer in the widget group. Right.
Deebo. Yeah.
But because Kittle took off from that group and they paid him, but it was much easier to pay a tight end and it was much easier to pay Fred Warner. Right. Like it's a lot easier to do the deals at 30 in the mid 30 guarantees. Even if it's like, oh, he's making 17 a year. Yeah. I mean, I basically guaranteed him 2 years. Right. Like ultimately the Raiders, the Chiefs, even the Bills, like those guys are going to be in their 30s on their books. Now, if something catastrophic happens, maybe they cut them or trade them, right? You just never know in the NFL. But those contracts are on the books for 22, 23, and a minimum 24. We saw Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan just got 100 guaranteed like 3 years ago. It was like, Falcons like, we can't get this guy off the books. You know? I mean, it's hard. Because usually with the higher money, what do? You push it back.
Yeah.
So it really hits the books. It'd be like if you could get the option, and maybe they'd have this for like high net worth clients, to not pay a credit card. It wasn't a monthly due. It was like once a year. I bet a lot of people would do that, right?
Keep the money in your pocket.
Or just extend, right? And I guess they technically have some of that with like minimum payments. That's kind of what it's like. But you can just push back minimum payments forever, right? The cap, like a huge lump sum does hit you.
Mark says 3 years, 66, fully guaranteed. It's a short-term deal. Deebo can stay healthy into his late 20s. He can get another Diggs, Adams, Hill type contract. Christian Kirk ruined the market for Deebo, AJ, and DK.
I don't think the Niners would do that.
Christian Kirk was a second rounder, right?
I think he was a little later than that.
He was pick 47. He was a second rounder.
Jesus. I didn't know that.
In 18, 19, 20. So that's...
He just played out his 4-year contract.
Yeah.
Became a free agent.
Right. And they said bye-bye. You don't think the Niners would do 3 for 66? I don't either. Fully guaranteed.
Why would I fully guarantee and then he's just able to, then I got to go through this again?
Yeah, you would give him 66 fully guaranteed if he's under contract for 7 years.
Now, ultimately, if I gave him a 3-year extension at 66, he's under contract for 4 because you would include this year. Right.
But still, if you're going to give him 66,
35 million. Yeah.
If you're going to give him 66, you're going to take
5-year contract minimum.
I mean, that he wants 25 AAV.
Yeah.
Right. So that doesn't have to be fully guaranteed, though.
I don't think he gets over $60 million from the Niners guaranteed.
Yeah. The question is, which one of this group is going to get the most?
Whoever signs last, probably. So it'll be interesting how handy, because they're not going to go down, right? It's not like AJ Brown's going to get 58 and then the next guy's going to get 49. You would think it just incrementally works up. That's how it's kind of worked.
Right.
Devontae got 67, then Tyreek got 72. And then, Diggs doesn't have the resume of Tyreek, but he still had a really good resume, kind of got in the middle.
Pretty unique for the agent. to have all three guys and be not Terry, but to have the other three and be able to tell each team. Niners, Dandy is the last name with a D. Niners, Titans are offering 57, right? Seahawks, Titans are offering 57. Niners, Seahawks are offering 60.
Kind of a weird spot to be in.
If I were the three GMs, I would. Are the GMs allowed to talk?
Yeah.
So if I were the three GMs, I would talk to each other.